Hello, and welcome to another Sinister Sunday. Today we're going to go over the Red Ghost of Arizona, something that was fiction that became fact. During the westward expansion of the United States, military forces were looking for ways to ease transportation in arid regions. Throughout the early 19th century, various proposals were made for camels to be used as pack animals, with a proposal by then Secretary of War Jefferson Davis, finally being approved in 1855 with a budget of $30,000 in an experiment that would later be known as Camel Corps. The project was generally a success, but due to the American Civil War, it was largely abandoned, with many supporters, like Jefferson Davis, joining the Confederacy. The camels were sold off or abandoned, with some not being seen for decades afterwards. The legend of the Red Ghost began in 1883, when two men left their ranch, their two wives, and their children near Eagle Creek to go check on their cattle. One of the wives went to go fetch some water, while the other wife stayed at the ranch with the four children. While the one rancher's wife was in the house with the children, she heard the dogs outside barking loudly. She went outside to see what was going on. What she saw, she described as a huge reddish-colored beast, ridden by a devilish-looking creature. She proceeded back in the house quickly, locked the door, and barricaded it. A few moments later, she heard a scream, which she assumed was the other wife. She didn't want to move with the children and just sat and prayed until the men came home. When they returned home, they found one of the wives trampled to death near the water's edge. The men found the hoof prints and some red hair. The prints found near the body were too big to be a horse, and no one could identify them. The rancher's wife told the story of what she saw, and it quickly spread all over that part of Arizona. The devil riding his mythical creature. A few days later, a group of prospectors reported something tearing through their campground. Red hair was later found at the site. Just a few days after that, the creature was spotted again, this time being described as 30 feet tall and knocking over two wagons, with red hair being found at the scene again. The legend would quickly spread, and various tales were being told. A cowboy who came across the beast tried to lasso it, but was knocked to the ground and nearly killed, not before seeing the figure on its back, which was a skeleton. It is said a few months later, a group of 5 men shot at the beast, missing the camel, but shooting the head off the skeleton, finding some hair and skin still attached to it. The legend remained very popular until a farmer, Mitsu Hastings, found the creature eating in the yard and proceeded to shoot and kill it with a single shot. The creature was then discovered to be a camel. Because camels were not native to Arizona, most people didn't know what the animal was. When the camel was investigated, the leather straps were so stuck on and so tight that the animal was scarred. It remains unknown why a dead man was attached to the back. Many speculations arose that the man died on the camel of thirst and managed to stay on its back. A sculpture of the camel was erected in Quartzsite, Arizona, not too far from the grave of High Jolly, an Ottoman camel driver who worked for the Camel Corps. High Jolly in 1856 became one of the first camel drivers ever hired by the U.S. Army to lead the camel driver experiment in the Southwest. Such an interesting story, and I love when legend and lore becomes somewhat fact. Thank you so much for joining us for another Sinister Sunday. If you like this content, check out our playlist, Sinister Sunday, for more. And if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. We'll see you next week.